Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel Cakes by MK. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make gorgeous wafer paper butterflies, and I've also got a bonus clip at the end showing you how I put it onto this beautiful wedding cake. If you're new to my channel, please click the subscribe button below and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you're updated whenever I upload a new video. Apart from that, stay tuned and I hope you guys enjoy this video. So the first step to making these wafer paper butterflies is to make some butterfly shapes first. So what I like to do is I like to just print off a stencil from the internet. There's plenty on there so you can choose which kind of design you like. Now this is just a simple one that I've got here, and I'm simply just going to use the outline as my guide when I create my butterflies. So the paper that I'm using to create my butterflies with is called wafer paper. Now wafer paper is 100% edible, so it's a great kind of material to use for your cakes. And it basically looks like regular A4 printing paper, but the difference is in the texture. So when you feel it, you can feel that it's not quite the same. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to simply grab my wafer paper. I'm going to put a butterfly on the top, and I'm just using a regular pencil to outline my butterfly, but I'm going to make my outline slightly larger than the stencil that I've got here so that when I come to cutting it, I'm actually going to be cutting out the part where I use the pencil so that it's not on our butterflies. So I've cut my 4 butterflies out, and now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare some wire which our butterflies are going to be stuck to, which is then going to be what we use to stick into our cake. So what I've got here is I have got some thin wire which has been coated, and you should be able to find these at, specialist cake decorating stores. And basically what I'm going to do is, these are quite long, so I'm going to cut them in thirds first. And then I'm going to grab 2 of them and I'm going to hold them up the top, just like that. And I'm going to kind of bend 2 of them so you've kind of got this Y shape like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch the part at the top where my kind of top Y starts. And then I'm just going to start twisting the wire so that the 2 wires are stuck together. Okay, so you should be left with this kind of Y pattern now, and now I'm just going to pop that aside for a second while we start working on our butterflies. So what I've got here is I've just got an acrylic disc which I'm going to work on. You can work with whatever you've got at home, even just like a baking tray or anything like that. Just going to pop that down, and then I'm going to get one of my butterflies. Now you will notice that with these wafer papers, they've got one rough side and one smooth side. So what we want to do first is you want to lay the butterfly smooth side down so that you can see the rough side. And then what I'm going to do is I've got some piping gel here. Now my piping gel is going to act as like my glue when I stick my 2 wafer paper butterflies together. So I'm just using a paintbrush to first apply some piping gel onto my butterfly. Now you don't want to pipe too much because wafer paper is really sensitive to moisture, so you just want to put a nice kind of thin coating on. And then next what you want to do is you want to grab that little Y that you just created, and you want to pop that onto your butterfly. So this is kind of like the skeleton of your butterfly. And then you're going to get another butterfly and you're going to put it down on top of this one, rough side down, so that your smooth side is what's showing on the outside. Just align it up and then just push it down quite firmly so that it's all stuck together. Okay, now as you can see, we're left with a cute little butterfly like this. And now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting it. Now, again, because wafer paper is really sensitive to moisture, you don't want to use, too much water on it. So just a nice thin layer again. And to do that, I'm going to be using some gel food colors here. And I've got some water here as well, which I'm just going to use to thin out some of my gel colors when I don't want the color to be so strong. And then I'm just going to use those to paint my butterfly. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of black, and I'm going to mix that in some water and use that as my light background because I just want like a light gray background. So I'm just getting a little bit of water and mixing it with some of that gel food color just to make it not so dark. And then I'm going to use that to coat my butterfly. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start deepening the color on the inside of the butterfly. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did, except I'm going to use a little bit more gel color this time so that I've got a darker color. And I'm just kind of fanning out my brush now on the edges just so that it all blends in really nicely. Now next what I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting some of those little veins on the insides of the butterfly. Now you can use a template if you like. The good thing about this is that those veins, you don't have to get them absolutely perfect. So it's easy to kind of mess up, but it doesn't matter because it still looks nice once you're done. So I'm just going to start drawing some thin lines to create those veins using just straight black gel food color. And I'm just using the thin side of my brush to do this. Okay, so I've got my little veins on my butterfly, and now I'm going to go ahead and start darkening the middle again, just using some of the black gel food color which is left on my paintbrush. And then I'm just going to dip my paintbrush in some water. And then I'm just going to use that to help spread out some of that paint that I just put on so that it's all nice and smooth. Okay, and there it is. So that's my first wafer paper butterfly all done. Now I'm going to be showing you guys how to make one more where I'm going to be adding a little bit of extra color to it. So what I've got here is I've got some green gel food color, and just like how I did with the black gel food color, I'm just going to put a little bit onto my little kind of painting pad that I've got here, and I'm just going to mix it with a little bit of water and a little bit of black because I don't want such a bright green, and then I'm going to put that in the middle of my wafer paper. Okay, and that is my second wafer paper butterfly all done. Like I said again, just keep in mind wafer paper is really sensitive to moisture, so just keep your wafer paper sheets and your completed wafer paper butterflies in a nice cool dry place, and do not pop them into the fridge because fridges have high humidity levels and this can cause your wafer paper to wilt and even start to disintegrate once you take it out. So just leave these in a cool dry place, and the best thing to do is to pop them onto your cake right in the last minute. So what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to be showing you guys how I put these wafer paper butterflies onto a wedding cake. So what I've got here is I've got a 3-tiered cake, which is 8, 6 and 4-inch tiers, and I'm going to just simply place my wafer paper butterflies around the front of the cake, and I'm going for this kind of flowy pattern all the way to the top. Now the way that I'm going to do that is I'm simply just going to grab a wafer paper butterfly and I'm going to stick it into the cake using the little wire that we use to create it. Now what you want to do, because the wafer papers are sensitive to moisture, is you want to try and prevent it from touching your buttercream. especially with the type of buttercream that I'm using today, which is a Swiss meringue buttercream, which doesn't have a crusting on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the wires into the cake in a way so that the wafer paper butterflies are not touching my buttercream. Okay, so my cake's going to be having a cake topper on the top, so I've left some space there in the front. But apart from that, that's basically my wafer paper butterfly cake all done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to create beautiful wafer paper butterflies. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this, and thanks again for watching Cakes by MK.